We think we know the story of World War II, the epic battles, the iconic leaders, the lines drawn on a map. But beneath the surface of the history we've been taught lies a world of secrets, a shadow war fought with ideas so bizarre, so audacious, they sound like fiction. You know the battles, but you don't know these secrets. This is the dark underbelly of the war, the untold truths that history books often leave out. Let's start with the weapons. Not the tanks and planes you know, but the ones that seem ripped from a mad scientist's blueprint. Imagine a giant mirror in space, orbiting Earth, designed to focus the sun's rays into a single, terrifying beam, capable of boiling oceans and incinerating cities. This was the Nazi sun gun, a real project proposed by German scientists. While it never left the drawing board, its ambition was terrifying. Not to be outdone in sheer strangeness, the British conceived Project Tobaccoke, the idea to build an unsinkable aircraft carrier 2,000 feet long, not from steel, but from a mixture of ice and wood pulp called pikereed. They even built a large-scale prototype in Canada. It was a colossal, frozen fortress designed to patrol the frigid Atlantic. The project was eventually abandoned, but it shows the desperate innovation of the time. And it gets weirder. The Allies developed plans for explosive rats. The idea was to stuff dead rats with plastic explosives and leave them in German boiler rooms. The theory was that a stoker, finding a dead rat, would simply shovel it into the furnace, triggering a massive explosion. The plan was foiled when the Germans intercepted the first shipment, but the sheer creativity of the deception is astounding. The Soviets also experimented with animal warfare, training anti-tank dogs to run under enemy tanks with explosives strapped to their backs. Sadly, this often backfired tragically, as the dogs, trained on Soviet tanks, would sometimes run back towards their own lines. These weren't just isolated ideas, they were part of a hidden war of bizarre ingenuity. Beyond strange weapons, there were missions of incredible deception. Take Operation Mincemeat. In 1943, Allied intelligence needed to convince the Germans they were planning to invade Greece, not Sicily. Their solution, they took the body of a homeless man, gave him a false identity as a Royal Marine officer, and chained a briefcase full of fake invasion plans to his wrist. They then released the body off the coast of Spain, knowing it would be found by pro-German officials. The Germans bought the deception completely, diverting their forces and saving thousands of Allied lives during the actual invasion of Sicily. It was a lie that changed the course of the war. Then there was the Ghost Army, a top-secret U.S. unit of 1,100 men, composed almost entirely of artists, designers, and sound engineers. Their mission was to deceive the German army on the battlefields of Europe. They used inflatable tanks, rubber airplanes, and powerful sound systems to broadcast the noises of troop movements where there were none. They could create the illusion of a massive army, drawing enemy divisions away from real Allied assaults. It was Hollywood-style special effects on the front lines, a masterful act of military theater that saved countless lives. And sometimes, the most effective secret weapon wasn't a weapon at all, but a language. The U.S. employed hundreds of Navajo code talkers. Their complex, unwritten language was an unbreakable code. They could transmit sensitive battlefield messages in seconds, a process that would have taken encryption machines hours. The Japanese, with some of the best cryptographers in the world, were never able to decipher the Navajo code. It was a vital tool that gave the Marines a critical edge in the Pacific. But not all of the war's secrets were about clever tactics. Some conceal unimaginable horror. In Japanese-occupied Manchuria, Unit 731 conducted some of the most horrific biological warfare experiments in human history. Under the guise of a water purification unit, they performed gruesome human experiments on prisoners, deliberately infecting them with diseases like plague and anthrax to develop weapons. The scale of the cruelty was monstrous, and for decades, the full story was shrouded in secrecy. The Siege of Leningrad tells another story of human suffering pushed to its absolute limit. For nearly 900 days, the city was cut off by German forces. With supply lines severed, starvation took hold. People ate wallpaper paste, boiled leather, and eventually, the unthinkable happened. Reports of cannibalism emerged from the desperate, frozen city. It's a stark reminder that for civilians, the war wasn't just about battles, but about a daily, brutal fight for survival against hunger, cold, and despair. Even victory didn't end the suffering. For millions of prisoners of war, liberation was just the beginning of another struggle. Many returned home as ghosts, physically and psychologically shattered by years of starvation, torture, and forced labor. Their fight continued long after the treaties were signed, a hidden cost of the conflict often overlooked in the parades and celebrations. The war wasn't truly over for them for a very, very long time. These stories of ice ships, ghost armies, secret codes, and hidden atrocities are more than just historical footnotes. They reveal the true nature of total war. A desperate, chaotic, and often bizarre struggle where human ingenuity and human cruelty were pushed to their absolute extremes. They force us to question the simplified narratives we're often told. What other secrets are still buried? What other truths remain untold? History is not a closed book, it is a landscape of shadows, and by exploring them, we learn not just about the past, but about the enduring complexities of the human spirit. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the hidden corners of history. If you found these stories as astonishing as we did, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the secrets of the past.